What is up, everyone, and welcome to NFL Nexus, your spot for the deepest dives on the biggest stories in the league. Hey, if you love this kind of detailed breakdown, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and give this video a like. All right, let's get into it, because we have an absolute bombshell coming out of Kansas City. You'd think the confetti from the Super Bowl has barely been swept up, but nope, the back-to-back champs are making a move that has everyone's head spinning. It involves their starting right tackle, Jawaan Taylor, a guy they just gave a monster contract to literally 1 year ago. This is a huge story with some serious ripple effects, so let's unpack this thing.
And boom, here it is, the tweet from Adam Schefter that basically broke NFL Twitter. Chiefs have informed OT Jawaan Taylor that he will be released before the start of the league year, barring a trade per sources. Now the wording here, man, it's everything. This isn't just some rumor or speculation. When a source like Schefter says the team has informed the player, that means the conversation has already happened. The decision's been made. This is basically the Chiefs putting a giant for sale sign on their starting right tackle, and the clock is officially ticking.
So this just leads to the one giant, blinking question. Why? Seriously, why would the defending champs, a team at the absolute pinnacle of the sport, willingly punch a hole in their own offensive line? Why would you move on from a guy hired to protect Patrick Mahomes, your $500 million quarterback? It just doesn't add up on the surface, right? It goes against every rule of team building we thought we knew. But, as we're about to find out, this is a complicated story. It's a tangled web of money, penalties, and some high-stakes chess moves for the future.
So here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of this shocking roster move. Then, we got to follow the money, what some are already calling the $80 million mistake. After that, we'll play GM and scout 3 teams that could actually make a trade. Then, we'll look at how this completely blows up the Chiefs' draft plans. And finally, we'll try to figure out what happens next.
Okay, let's get into the hard facts. Beyond the big headline, what are the actual details here? What's the timeline? What are the possible endings to this story? Let's break down exactly what we know, piece by piece.
The most critical piece of info on the screen is that date, March 11th. That's the start of the new league year, and that is the hard deadline. The Chiefs have to get a trade done by then, or they'll have to cut him to get the financial savings. But, the real giveaway here is the expected return. Sources are saying the Chiefs would be lucky to get a day 3 pick. We're talking a 4th rounder at best. And that tells you everything. This isn't about getting assets back. This is a salary dump, plain and simple. Every other GM in the league knows the Chiefs are over a barrel, so they hold all the cards. Why would they give up a good pick when they can just wait a few days and maybe sign him as a free agent?
And that whole situation, that lack of leverage, it brings us right to the absolute core of this issue, the money. It always comes down to the money, doesn't it? To really get why a title-winning team is doing this, you just have to follow the trail of dollars and cents. This wasn't a decision made in a vacuum. It's a direct reaction to a massive contract they signed just 12 months ago.
$80 million. This is where it all started. Just last year, the Chiefs made Jawaan Taylor their big fish in free agency. They handed him a 4-year, $80 million deal. This wasn't just some depth signing. This was a massive investment. He was supposed to be the guy, the long-term solution at right tackle, the bookend protector for Mahomes for years to come. It was a statement that he was going to be a pillar for their dynasty.
And this number, $20 million. This is why we're talking about this today. This is the why. By trading or cutting Taylor, the Chiefs will free up $20 million in cap space. Now, in the NFL salary-capped world, $20 million isn't just a lot. It's a treasure chest. It's the kind of money you need if you want any hope of re-signing your own superstars, guys like defensive tackle Chris Jones or cornerback Algerius Sneed. This move is basically the front office admitting, hey, we messed up. The on-field play didn't match the paycheck, and we desperately need that money back.
But let's be real clear here. This isn't just some accounting decision. His play on the field is a huge piece of the puzzle. While Taylor's actually a pretty decent pass protector, he was an absolute penalty machine for the Chiefs. I mean, false starts, illegal formations, holding calls, you name it. They were drive killers, absolute momentum sappers. Look, when you're paying a guy $20 million a year, you expect clean, disciplined football. The combination of that huge salary and those back-breaking penalties, well, it just became too much for the Chiefs to ignore.
So the best-case scenario for the Chiefs is a trade, right? Because even a 6th or 7th round pick is better than nothing. But who's going to pick up the phone? What teams out there are desperate enough for a tackle, have the cap space to burn, and would be willing to make a deal? Let's dive into 3 teams that might actually make sense. Okay, first on the list, and this would be wild, is the Chiefs' most hated rival, the Las Vegas Raiders. I know,
I know. Trading a starting player inside your own division, that's like a cardinal sin in the NFL. You just don't want to help a team you have to play twice a year. But the situation in Vegas is so unique, and their need is so big, that this might be one of those rare times it could actually happen.
So why would the Raiders even entertain this? Well, it boils down to three things. One, their offensive line was a train wreck last year. It just torpedoed their offense over and over. Two, and this is the big one, they are almost certainly taking a quarterback, Fernando Mendoza, with the #1 pick. And what's the first rule of drafting a rookie QB? You build a fortress around him. You cannot let that kid get destroyed. And three, they are swimming in cash. With nearly $90 million in cap space, they can absorb Taylor's contract without even thinking about it. For them, giving up a late-round pick to lock down a veteran right tackle might be a price they're more than happy to pay.
All right, let's stick in the AFC and talk about another team in the middle of a serious rebuild, the New England Patriots. Just like the Raiders, the Patriots are starting a new chapter, and they know you can't build anything without a solid foundation in the trenches. Their offensive line was a huge liability last season, and man, did we see the results.
Just get a load of this stat. Their quarterback, Drake May, was sacked 21 times in the playoffs, an NFL record. Let that sink in. That's not just bad protection. That's a complete systemic failure to protect your most important player. You simply cannot win football games like that. So for the Patriots, fixing that line is priority #1. And with over $40 million in cap space, they have the money to make a move. Trading for a guy like Taylor would be a huge first step in making sure May stays upright.
Okay, for our third and final trade partner, let's head over to the NFC. For the Arizona Cardinals, this is about more than just filling a need. For them, getting Jawaan Taylor could be a brilliant strategic chess move that completely changes what they do in the NFL draft.
See, this is pure strategy. Right now, almost every mock draft has the Cardinals taking an offensive tackle with the #3 overall pick. It's a massive need. But what if they could fill that need with a proven veteran like Taylor instead? All of a sudden, that #3 pick is free. They could use it on a monster edge rusher or another blue-chip player at a different position. It lets them solve two problems at once: patch up the O-line with a trade, and then add an elite talent with their top pick. It's the kind of move that gives a GM incredible flexibility come draft night.
But let's forget about other teams for a second. The biggest impact of this move is on the Chiefs themselves, and specifically their draft strategy. When you get rid of your starting right tackle, you create a massive, glaring hole on your roster. And the immediate reaction from everyone is, well, they have to take a tackle with their first-round pick now. But is that really the smartest play?
This right here, this is the debate that has to be raging inside the Chiefs' war room. On one hand, you've got the argument that protecting Patrick Mahomes is priority #1, always. They've got the 9th pick, and they should absolutely use it to plug this new hole. But there's another school of thought, a really compelling one, that says doing that would be a total panic move. It would be an overreaction that ignores all the other investments they've already made.
Let's really dig into that counterargument, because it makes a ton of sense. I mean, look at the resources the Chiefs have already sunk into this O-line. Their left tackle was a first-rounder, their left guard was a second-rounder, their center and right guard are literally the highest-paid players at their positions in the entire league. They've already spent a fortune in both draft picks and cash on this unit. At some point, you got to say enough is enough and use your top picks to fix other problems, especially when this year's tackle class isn't viewed as this legendary can't-miss group. And that brings us back to what their plan probably was before all this. The smart money was on the Chiefs, using that 9th pick to get Mahomes another weapon at receiver, or maybe add a game-wrecking edge rusher, or even take a dynamic running back. To just throw that whole plan out the window because one big free agent signing didn't work out, it feels like letting one mistake lead to another. The argument is, don't panic, go find a decent affordable right tackle later, and stick to your original plan to add a true impact player somewhere else.
So, where does all this leave us? With that March 11th deadline coming up fast, how is this whole thing probably going to play out? Let's map out the most likely scenario. All right, here's how this is probably going to go down, in 3 steps. Step 1, the Chiefs front office is going to be working the phones like crazy right up to the deadline, just hoping some team gets nervous and throws them a late-round pick to secure Taylor. Step 2, if, and this is probably what's going to happen, no good trade offer comes through, they will officially release him to get that $20 million in cap space back. And then, step 3 is the pivot. They will immediately shift gears to finding his replacement, whether that's drafting a guy in the middle rounds, signing a cheaper veteran in free agency, or even just letting one of their own guys, like Wanya Moore or Lucas Niang, step up and win the job.
And that leaves us with the ultimate question for the champs. Is it going to be a trade, a release, or some crazy last-minute plot twist where they rework his deal?
Whichever path the Kansas City Chiefs choose, it's going to tell us a lot about their priorities and their game plan as they start this historic quest for a three-peat. So what do you think they should do? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for tuning into this breakdown here on NFL Nexus. And hey, before you click away, if you're looking for a fun way to support the channel, check out our NFL-themed coloring books. They're perfect for kids, grandkids, and hey, even for adults. You can find the link in the description or just use the QR code right there on your screen. We'll see you next time.